Ladies and
How you
gentlemen,
doing?
welcome to another episode. There you go. Ladies and
Beat you
gentlemen,
too.
welcome to another episode of What the Fellas Think, the podcast designed to entertain, educate, and inspire. I'm your boy Roy. I'm here with Brandon. Jeremy's out for the week. He's in Brazil, finishing up my finishing up the auditions this week. Uh, yeah, they kicked your boy out of Brazil. Ain't that some shit? They gave me the Donald Trump heave ho. Um, Before we get into this, podcast is overseen by my man Roy Tiger Brown. Wow, we coming up on a year since his passing, and I keep thinking about that every day. But you know what? We're here in the land of the living. We're gonna keep it moving. And before we get started with what we have scheduled, I just wanted to bring out a new announcement. This just happened about maybe half an hour ago. Yeah, today is June 18th. The Lakers just sold for $10 million.
The Lakers?
Yes, their valuation was $10 million. They
That's got to
just
be under evaluated.
no.
No
So
way.
the actual valuation was 7 billion, and he forked over 10 billion. Uh,
Oh, 10 billion. Oh, I thought you
yeah,
said
not
10 million.
oh
I
yeah.
thought you said 10 million. I'm like, somebody got
Yeah.
to steal.
He said, he
Somebody got
said,
to steal.
he said, we ain't talking about the Detroit Pistons. But you know what? Since we started out with basketball, let's go into these NBA finals. I was really hoping that Indiana would come out as champions for so many reasons. But that's not about to happen. As we stand right now, the OKC is 3-2. They had a game Monday night that was just horrible. You know, they had a chance to come back and win. OKC just kept turning it up. And seems like I believe tonight we'll be crowning the new NBA champions, the OKC Thunder. So, you know, shout out to them because there ain't no way in hell Indiana's coming back and winning the series. You know, I'll walk to work in my robe if that happens. Um,
Get your
that's
feet
all.
ready. Get your feet
Right.
ready. I I I was kind of disappointed. I expected a lot of Halliburton. He had one of the worst games I've seen out of an NBA player. I mean, zero field goals made, 7 turnovers, and like I mean, I've never seen because the last game it was kind of spotty, but he had a highlight. He was playing out of his mind in the fourth quarter. But this game, it kind of went all downhill, and they had a chance really to win this game. I mean, defensively, they kind of you felt them kind of fold. I mean, they were going to the basket, doing whatever they want. Okay, see, and I do feel like there's a little bit of favoritism too with the fouls. Like the fouls has been ridiculous. Like people, I don't understand. Like every little thing has been OKC's way with that with the fouls, but that's a whole nother story. But
So before we get off the subject of basketball, I just want to kind of segue into the WNBA. I've been watching a lot of WNBA games lately, mostly if it's Fever related, you know, Chicago Sky related, but I've been watching other games too. And let me say, it's just a lot of tension that's still there. It's a powder keg just ready to explode, you know, centered around, you know, Caitlin Clark. She, and I'm not saying that she's innocent in this. I'm not saying that she's, you know, the cause of this, but a lot of people have been taking shots at her. And I really can't see nothing other but jealousy. It's just like, I don't know if they're saying, you know, what is that white bitch? No, this is our sport. Well, actually, it was a white sport before they let the brothers and sisters play, but she has been taking a lot of stuff. I mean, other night she got poked in the eye like Three Stooges style, you know, and just ridiculous. And they're talking about how they deserve it. They're not acting like they deserve the growth. Stop trying to run. Walk first. You're doing great things. But yes,
I gotta speak to that. I gotta speak to that. I feel like and it's not Caitlin Clark's fault, at least in my opinion. I feel like the outside has made it that the black and white thing. Because last night it was the white player that knocked her on the floor. She got hit in the face by the white player. It wasn't people have made that black and white thing. But to me, I feel like it is a bit of intensity, but now I'm starting to see more of the jealousy of it. Like things are kind of like piling up on it, whether it's Brittany Griner's comments, her teammates having to defend her, other players of Phoenix, saying things to her, chastising a little hit check here and there. And to me, I was kind of like playing back. Didn't they do Jordan like this when he came in the league? Because I was like, how is it that they're just doing this to this? So, okay, but they were doing this to Jordan. Jordan,
but
when he came in
Jordan
the
was
league,
came in was acting real cocky, and they felt that he needed to be put in his place.
well,
I don't believe Caitlin Clark is doing that. She comes off as humble to me. She's just playing the sport. Yeah,
nah, I don't think humble is the way to say that, but I wouldn't say that. Nah, that's a strong word because there is times where she's flashing in the face of her opponent. There's times of that, which is a part of the game. That's every player does that. But
but I just don't. I just see that she's at this point right now is very instrumental in bringing the WNBA to a whole new level. And I'm not saying don't touch her, but it seemed like it's literally like it's a contract out, like there's a bounty on her head.
you think every game she's going through that? I don't think it's
No,
every
I
game,
don't. I
but
don't
there are
think. I
some.
don't think every game, but
Mhm.
I mean, when it happens, it definitely makes the news.
And that tells you up star power right there too. That tells you star power right there too.
You know, so while we're in the WNBA, can't mention Caitlin Clark without mentioning Angela Reese. So I watched her last night, and it was the same thing. She accumulated a couple of me bounds, and I say that to say they ridiculed her for that, and she flipped it on them. She licensed it, she copywritten it. Now she's probably gonna monetize it. I'm sure there's gonna be some apparel for her to make. I I've been reading a few stories, different sources about her, whereas they wanted to first sell her signature shoes by Reebok $40. And she was pushing back. She wanted them to go for $1,000 a pair, which I think is fucking ludicrous. Yes.
is this true?
Yes.
Oh my
I've
goodness, she
I've
out of her
read
mind. She's out of
many
her mind.
different sources. At first, I'm like, that's far fetched, and then you keep reading and reading. It's like, God damn, there must be some truth to this.
Yeah, she
I
out of her
mean,
mind.
who did she think was gonna? I mean, the people that idolize her can't buy $1,000 shoes,
Yeah,
and it'd turned into Air Jordans all over again. Somebody does come up and get a pair, they'd be stealing shoes, just like when the Air Jordans first came out. But they settled on 150. And
even to me, even then though, unless your shoe because most basketball shoes are, we're talking about style, basically. We're not talking about comfortability, unless you get into Steph Curry's or you get into the Kawhi Leonard shoes with New Balance and all that. You're not talking about comfort with these shoes. You're talking style.
Hmm.
And to me, no style is worth your feet hurt. Like, no style is worth that. So unless your shoe is comfortable, I ain't paying no $150. I don't give a damn if you put uh gold rims on them. I don't care. I don't give a damn.
So I was thinking as I saw the shoes, and I'm sure you've seen the shoes by now, and we can throw a picture up right here. I was thinking it would be a great idea to have a pair that resembles every variation of the Sky's jersey. That
Mm.
would be a good marketing scheme right there. But yeah,
Well,
$1,000 a pair, that's ridiculous.
Angela Reese, you just heard it here first. We giving you an idea, and we want 20%.
Now that's Reebok we got to go after. Run me a check.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really pressing hard on Caitlin Clark. And
Mhm.
I honestly, this is just me being fair and seeing what I'm seeing, it's unnecessary. If anything, she's helping boost the game. I did research on her a couple of days ago, and I
Mhm.
mean I followed her history in sports in general. That's all she's been doing all her life is playing sports. I think I want to say they said 3 or 4 or whatever, but she's probably, trying to figure out how to dribble the ball. But to be so young and followed all the way through, and I wish I had notes on it, but guys, just do a search on Kaylin Clark. I mean, she's been playing sports all her life. So what she's showing you guys right now is just a lifetime of hard work that she's been putting in. And again, I'm gonna say this for the umpteenth time. You trying to destroy was going to build the WNBA. Not saying that there's not other players that bring value to the game, but for some reason, Caitlin Clark is that it figure right now.
Do you think she's the face of the WNBA?
Unfortunately, yeah. And then no, no, it's not unfortunately. Yeah, she is the face of the WNBA unofficially right now.
As a
She's the reason why everybody's watching. Case in point, before she got injured, the Sky had already reserved the United Center for the games. Those are the only 2 games they reserved the United Center for, home games. They got another one coming up in July. When Caitlin Clark got hurt, prior to their first meeting at the United Center, ticket prices dropped big time. So
50, what is that, $51 drop or $61 drop?
I thought it was like 71, but I'm thinking in terms of percentages. I remember it's 71, 72, something like that.
No, I
So that's basically
was.
saying if you'd have walked in with a jersey, you probably could have played.
My thing is, to me, like, I treat it like the NBA. To be the face of something, you got to be the best in it. To me, and I don't feel like now she may be the most polarizing figure in the WNBA. I'll say that, but it's still Asia Wilson to me. Like her name carries respect, whether it's outside of basketball, whether it's inside of basketball. She killing on the court, she's dominating on the court, and she's recognized outside the court. To me, it's
So
Asia Wilson.
other Sky news is, to me, they lost a very key player last week.
Mm.
Uh, Vandersloot, I want to say is her name. Big playmaker for the Sky. She's
Mm.
out for the rest of the season. So I'm not saying I'm looking for them to tank or predicting them to tank, but they lost a real key player. Um, the All Star game is coming up. Do you think Caitlin Clark is All Star game worthy?
Absolutely, absolutely, without question,
Okay.
without
I,
question. From what I now I know she's been hurt a good portion of what we've seen so far, but on the court, numbers speak for themselves. Her team is winning.
no. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I meant Angela Reese.
Oh, you mean
Angel Reese.
Angela Reese?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, oh, okay. I thought you said Caitlin
I
Clark.
did. I
That's
did
what I
say
meant.
Caitlin Clark, but in
Okay,
my mouth said
okay,
Caitlin Clark, but my mind was thinking Angel Reese.
okay. Well, that's a different story. I mean, I'm a basketball fan, and I would not stay true if I say that. She deserves that. Her game has to massively improve. She she is struggling. Now it's funny that she says she modeled her game after Jordan, because I'm, in the barbershop, I almost said something on here, but I'm just say where, 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 because
The
skill.
season when he was out with a broke foot.
Because
That's who I'm
skill,
going after.
skill is lacking right now. Now I know she says she left-handed or right-handed. I'm sorry, and she likes to shoot with her left. That's what she does. But you missing layups with both hands. You can get the rebounds. You can get the rebounds. That's cool. But you should, at this point in your game, as all the training and trainers she's had, your game should have seen a jump somewhere. I mean, you got Lisa Leslie training, so you should have some footwork, something. I don't see that. It's kind of like the flimsy. What's the guy who used to get all the rebounds and or still gets all the rebounds in basketball in the NBA? Andre Drummond, like the flimsy. He gets a lot of rebounds, but he kind of like kind of like, I don't know if you ever, no disrespect to Andre Drummond, but you watch him play, it's kind of like lanky, that
There
lanky
he is,
kid.
right behind you.
Well, hey, I'm sorry, Andre, I'm sorry, but
He gonna put you in a chokehold like Ving Rhames did with Baby Boy. That's right, Baby Boy.
but I'm
But
just
no,
saying the skill is lacking.
yeah,
The skill
I
is
think
lacking.
so too. I think she's taken a decline from last season, and if she keeps it up, I think she's going to be trade bait. That's if somebody's willing to take her on, because right now it's like there's no improvement, and she's continuing to make the same mistakes.
See,
Now,
I can honestly say that her playing style does not contribute to winning, and you see that with her team's record.
I
So
agree.
yeah, you see that with her team's record. So you have to make some type of massive change in your play or how you play to contribute to winning. If you want to be considered in a class that's here, because right now I consider it like that to me. I mean, I can go get Buddy under the 51st Street Bridge if I want rebounds. Just so, no disrespect. No disrespect.
No,
I'm just saying.
no disrespect to 41st Street.
Yeah.
um, and I think there's a player on the Sky team that's truly being ignored, which I think they should probably base their game around.
Oh, the center.
Yes.
Yeah. She
Young
actually.
lady, is it Cardoza?
Yeah.
Yes.
She actually
I
has a post game.
yes. So the Sky needs to make some changes. And if they don't make those changes, the coach will be the first one to go. And that's we used to say, "Oh, why is the coach? It's not the coach's fault. It's play." No, yeah, it's the coach. He recognizes her shortcomings. She's not working on it. If she gets a me bound, kick it out. Reset the play.
Mm.
Stop trying to go for that. Now you got three people on your back and you're still trying to go for that shot. Yeah, keep it up. He'll be out of a job.
Hey, before we get into current events, but I want to bring up the Kevin Durant has listed the Heat as a team he would like to be traded to. What's your thoughts on that as a Heat fan?
Now, Kevin Durant, correct me if I'm wrong, he's about 37,
Yep.
37, 38. What it would take to get him is not worth it because he could only really contribute one good season, if that. He might play two seasons, but he might be only good for one. And it's not
Well,
worth giving up all of that young talent for him so late in the game. I I
well,
wouldn't push for it.
well, they just gave Bane from Minnesota four unprotected first round picks for him, and he ain't nowhere near the caliber of what Kevin Durant is.
But I mean, Kevin Durant's getting old. It's not worth it unless you're really trying to do something right now at this moment. If they get him, it's got to happen next season. And the people they want are the people that I feel are the future of the organization. You got a gentleman by the name of Khalil Ware. He is a center, has great potential. He just needs to bulk up, and he would definitely be a great contributor for the organization. I've seen Roser's name. I think Wiggins' name mentioned. I'm good with you getting rid of them. I'll even throw in Duncan. He's had his run. He I think he's peaked out. So those three and a second round draft pick is what I would be willing to give up for Kevin Durant.
Hey, you ain't gonna throw a first round pick in there? Throw that
No,
in
because that's what we do all the time. We try to get the now. We get veterans with like a quarter tank of gas left in them because they're trying to win that championship now. They're not trying to build a championship team. They trying to go
Mm.
for the now. So it's like if you get Durant, it's got to be next season or never.
Oh,
I just wouldn't do it. But then again, I'm not on the board. I don't make those decisions. If they do, I will rock with them. And when that season passes and they ain't won a championship, and the next season comes and he breaks his leg during preseason, I'll be like, I told you so. And that's when he
oh,
retires.
yeah. I don't know. I ain't gonna risk the breaking the leg on the man
Yeah,
now.
I didn't want to wish that. That's bad. But if they get him, it's either next season or never with him. Think about what you're giving up.
Yeah, I just think like with Kevin Durant, if you're able to keep uh Tyler Hero and Bam in that mix, I think you got a squad because everybody has a defined role in that situation. It ain't gonna be like how it was with Bill and Booker. Like everybody was trying to score. I think you got a defined role with this team. Everybody, the leading scorer need to be, and you got your guy.
Again, if they get him, it's this season coming up or never. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
It had to happen this season.
true, true.
Mhm.
I think let's get into current events for this evening. I'll share my screen here. This is the first one I wanted to talk about. Jerry Reinsdorf. And for people who don't know him, he is owner of the Chicago Bulls and owner of the White Sox. Now, there was two organizations that have recently been the embarrassment of their leagues. If and that's just putting it lightly, no disrespect to players out there or anything, but this owner has got to he has to be top 3 or top 4 worst owners in all of sports. And honestly, I would be glad to see him go as an owner of these two of
and
my
that's
favorite franchises.
and that's only in the eyes of fans. I mean, as
Yeah,
long as he's profitable as a businessman, he's doing great. But as
yeah,
far
yeah.
as their success, as long as you got season ticket holders, you got sold out arenas, you got merchandise going, concessions, whatever, you're doing great. But if you want a championship team, you got to put money into the team more than you're willing to do. So, from an owner standpoint, just like the Bears, they're profitable. Why put money into a championship? Why spend more money than necessary?
Yeah, that's the thing that I wish would go away because that's the same thing he did with the '90s Bulls, which was super profitable for him because he underpaid superstars and got 6 rings out of it.
Hmm.
And when it came time to pay him, he showed his ass. and that's and that's the mantra he goes by. And he's a terrible owner, just from a fan perspective. I can't wait to see him go. But he's opened the door up for Justin. Let me make sure I'm saying his name correctly. Just want to make sure I'm saying his name correctly. Justin Ishbel. He's a owner of the Phoenix Suns right now in the Phoenix Mercury. He has it's away from the game majority ownership in 2029, as early as 2029, but it could be 2034. Which either way, long as Jerry up out of there, I'm good with it either way because I'm ready for my teams because I'm a diehard White Sox fan. I'm a diehard Bull fan. Chicago Bulls fan. I'm ready for the teams to have that success, and they need a fresh start. Let's get this owner up out of here. What's your thoughts, bro?
Again, they can sell it, and what is the next owner going to do?
I'm hoping better
Are
than
they are they
they
are,
need a
are
fresh
they
start.
are they committed to bringing a championship in?
I hope. I hope. I hope. The White Sox, they've had last year. They had such a horrible season. I mean, they were literally bidding for players for people to come to the seats. They were giving dollar games, which as a player I would feel embarrassed. Like he had to cut salaries
Hell, I
for
should
this
have
year.
went.
Yeah, that's I would feel embarrassed if I'm a player. Now, granted, they're doing better this year at home. They're a 500 team. At least by the time we recording this video, they're 500. But at least that's something to be hang your hat on. You're doing better than last year because last year we were absolutely terrible. So hopefully this brings about positive change in the organization for both the White Sox and the Chicago Bulls. Let's move on to our next subject here. This one's crazy to me. A judge has approved a $2.8 billion settlement. Schools can start paying athletes $20 million a year. And the players who played between 2016 and 2024 will get back pay off of this in the amount of $2.7 billion, which is that's great for back players because it kind of they had to use their likeness for free basically, and they were they went to school for free, but they were getting made money off. They made billions off of them, those athletes. So this is good for them. But I think this is a two-part because the $20 million a year will contribute, I believe, to the lackadaisical effort that you see in the NBA now. Because it's kind of like, why? Why I got to get up and do this? Like, it's like the same mentality a championship boxer will eventually have. If I made $100 million, $200 million, I ain't gotta go do that 5 mile run. I ain't gotta go do that 10 mile run. I ain't gotta do these 10 sparring rounds. Like, and I feel like this is gonna contribute to that because I'm in college. I'm making I know it's exaggerated, but $20 million a year. Not every player is going to make that, but I'm making $20 million a year. I'm cool. I ain't got to go to the NBA. In my 4 years of college, I'd have made 80 million. I'm good. I'm good. I'm balling. And that's the mentality that I feel like it's gonna come from this. Because college sports is really a multi-billion-dollar prize. It may reach trillions, but much money as they make, but they make a lot of money. And playing athletes like this in college, especially you got young kids already who don't know what to do with money, financial literacy is sorely lacking. So you give me, I know if I was 19, you gave me $20 million, I'll be, I might be on TMZ every week, but what's your thoughts, Ray? What's your thoughts?
Well, I always credited college ball, especially football,
Mm.
because they played their hearts out. If it was for the love of the game, or it was to get that big paycheck in the NFL or in the pros, okay, great. But now you're going to lose that hunger in NCAA.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I feel is that's the future that's coming. This is gonna
So
be it's gonna be
so
detrimental.
to quote Rick James, they should have never gave you niggas all this money. Really, because I mean, it just goes in life in general. You can appreciate something when you struggle and then you achieve and you obtain it. This is just like handing it straight to them. All you got to do is make it to college, and you're set. What is that going to teach? I mean, that that generation.
Mhm.
They're
The-
like, I got 20 million this year. Like I said, potentially 80 million max. They can walk away with. They get to the NFL. Oh man, you know what? I cut my nail too short. I can't play today.
That's
Just everything. Just
that
I
is
mean,
sad, man.
you
That is
had
sad.
football players, and I quote, and I use Ronnie Lott as an example. He broke his finger. Oh, you're gonna be out for a month. He was like, "Well, cut it off then." For the love of the game. Now these guys, hey, just a month. Oh, doctor, I think I'm gonna need 2 months. You know.
No disrespect to Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi Leonard. I'm sorry.
So
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it's you know, I don't want to, shit in somebody's cornflakes. I'm happy for you guys. Get the money, but overall, it's not going to be a good thing.
We're in agreement there, fella. Let's move on to another subject. Tyler Perry getting sued for $260 million for accusations of sexual assault. Now, first of all, there's this actor Dixon. There are certain parts of his story that doesn't add up to me. First of all, if a man, you're staying in this guest house and this man comes in the house and he's touching your leg, I'm like, I'm finna leave, but you stayed. So I just don't get that part. And then you keep engaging with him and knowing that he's trying these things, he sent you text messages, all that. That's why it's kind of hard for me to believe this story. Now, I'm not trying to bash sexual assault victims or SA victims. I'm sorry. But this just doesn't seem believable to me. Now, there's a Boondocks episode there that people are gonna bring up. So, and I always had that thought in my mind. I ain't know about Tyler Perry. I know, but no, it's always that Joker running around in the neighborhood about Tyler Perry. But to me, I just don't. I get the same vibe I had when the young lady, accused Jay-Z. and her story didn't add up. It's just like I feel like this is a fish hunting thing going on here. He's trying to make something happen for himself. A struggling actor, I get it, but this, I don't believe the story anymore at all. What's your thoughts, Roy?
Uh, I've heard stories, and that's all they are, stories.
Mm-hmm.
Not no about Tyler Perry and his orientation. Uh, and again, it's no different than your Harvey Weinstein. In this other case, Diddy too. Whereas when you're in a position of power, you start doing things that you feel like you're above the law of, having to answer to. So there's a little part of me that believes to a certain extent this is true, but I guess it's for the court to decide because from my understanding, there's text messages involved.
Yes, yes. That's why I would say that evidence, if you really like trying to show that, at least show that part of it or whatever you can show, because there's some that are not as explicit, allegedly. So show the exchange then.
And
Show where he's.
even with the text messages, you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt.
Mhm.
I can go on my phone right now and change Brandon Johnson to LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody like, well, LeBron James, is that LeBron? Yeah, what does it say?
Yeah.
What are he texting you about? Oh,
Mm.
don't worry about it. So there's got to be some other way to validate those text messages.
Yeah. I just know that's a running joke in the barbershops and neighborhoods about Tyler Perry because his his blueprint always includes a man with his shirt off, abs showing, oiled up in some scene, and then Medea's there, another woman's there, another man's there. It's like that's his blueprint. In every movie, it's always seems to be that. So it's like, what's
And
going
again, so
on?
when you're in that position of power, you can do that.
Mm,
Uh, Back to Harvey Weinstein, the movie Frida with Salma Hayek. He said the only way he would do it is if she did a nude scene. Had nothing to do with, I think she was some artist or something or whatever, but that was the only way it was getting done. In other words, he wanted to see Salma Hayek's tits. And you're in that position of power. Like you said, Tyler Perry. In this scene, I want you oiled up, but we're in the dark. He was like, I can still see your eyes. So, but
I'm sorry,
at
I'm
the end of
being
the
loud.
day, no, at the end of the day, it's something to satisfy his fetish. And not and I'm saying is not that he's been brought up on any allegations of misconduct. Quentin Tarantino has a fetish for feet. And in every movie, somehow, some way, you will see exposed feet. That's his fetish. Again, no allegations have been brought against him, but he's in a position of power. Okay, in this scene, we're running over glass. I need you to be barefoot. It's whatever he wants to, satisfy himself and get off. So only time will tell. And I kind of go back to the program and the name. I mean, if you can see the actual number that's in there, and you can trace that number back to Tyler Perry, then I guess you got him red-handed. So I'm sure we'll see the resolution to this, whether they settle out, because I don't see this really going to court. It'll probably die because it'll be quietly settled out. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah, I would love to see the actual evidence. That's all for me. But hey, I know this is a running joke in the neighborhood. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
So from my understanding, he still works. He still does a show that's a Tyler Perry show, The Oval, I believe it is.
Yes, yes. He has a couple other shows too. You know, like Sisters Fatima or something like that. But yeah, we'll move on here. We'll move
With
on.
time will tell.
This is one that I felt was a little crazy. This is crazy. The Game, the rapper, says, fellas, stay single unless you're ready to do the 2 week bare minimum. And he's listing all these things that are 2 week bare minimum. And the little caption there says this doesn't include rent, pet, car note, or bill help. So lashes $200, hair $300, nails $250, toes $200, makeup $200, little lunch money $500, drinks with homegirls $500. Lulu and okay. Lot of what is it? Lot of boo boo, a lot of boo boo. $1,000, $1,000.
Labubu.
Whatever that is. I don't know. I'm not up on the fashion, but $1,000. Now I'm gonna tell
No,
y'all
I
right
thought
now.
those sound like the kids.
I
Is
don't.
that fashion?
I thought it was little Aloha. Yeah, I don't know. I thought
Hmm.
Lulu was a purse. That's a fashion style. So
Okay.
I'm assuming that's a. But anyway, if your maintenance is costing this much, then you stay with millionaires. You stay with millionaires. Because if your maintenance is costing this much, first of all, ain't no man working his hard earned money so you can have your little lunch money of $500. Because what lunch are you eating that is that expensive every 2 weeks? Like, Jesus Christ. And drinks with your homegirl. So I'm supposed to provide for that. This bill right here is basically a 2 week paycheck for the average man.
Hmm.
So you telling me all my money going towards you? Forget the lights, forget the gas, forget the food, forget the car, forget out the rent, all that. It's all you, and that's crazy. That's crazy. And game, if you doing this, no wonder, no wonder you had to sell your house, because like your financial literacy is effed up.
No, I don't think the game was doing it. He was telling motherfuckers that this is what's out there. And the reason he had to sell his house was because of a SA lawsuit here in Chicago that he lost and he refused to pay. And this is going back as far as he had a reality show on VH1 and he took one of the girls out on a date and that's where the accusations were made. And in a court of law, he was found guilty and he was supposed to come up with a certain dollar amount. Well, he refuses to pay it. So I don't know how he put albums out and he wasn't paying it. But
Mhm.
so going back and forth through court, they was like, well, you got to put your crib up, pay this off. He was trying to avoid paying it. Now, whether he did it or not, I don't know, but the court found him guilty and liable. Now, this right here, this is a whole different tier food chain of girls. I don't mess with girls like this. I mean, I don't want to put myself at the bottom of the pyramid, but this is this is the top of the pyramid right here. And I guess if you dealing in that type of circle and you got those type of girls and you willing to simp like that, it's like if I got to do this, who was doing this prior to me? You know?
So understand this is the bare minimum. So what's the maximum? What's the max? Because Jesus Christ, if you doing this as the bare minimum,
Yeah, that's the type of tier girl I don't even want to fuck with. We
I wouldn't
supposed to
even.
be. It sounds like she don't do nothing.
Exactly.
It sound
Exactly.
she do hair on the side, some shit like that. She make plates every now and then. Yeah,
This
she
is
ain't doing that for herself. And all you got to offer in return is some used pussy. It's got a few miles on it.
a few. No, let me
Well,
stop.
yeah, they
Let me stop. We don't.
a
I don't want to
road
make it
trip
seem
through
like we.
a road trip through America. But no, that's girls demanding this. That's all. And I don't want to, get people all riled up. But stuff like this being demanded, they usually don't have nothing to offer. I mean, and it's not to sound cheap, but I'd rather a woman, hey, I'll keep myself, you know. Makes you wonder, like, hey, if she take care of herself, what I do, what am I around for? I would rather think like that than as opposed to, you know what? I gotta go max these cards out to keep up with her.
Exactly.
To I gotta I gotta suffer myself. I gotta eat ramen noodle. I gotta add hot water to this cup of noodles every day just so I can keep her happy. But you're not happy. Yeah,
Yeah.
game. I'm with you on that. That's the that's the type of shit I don't fuck with.
Yeah. I think. No wonder there's so many single people out here now. All right, we
Amen.
go. We go move on to another subject here. Trump and Trump has reached a trade deal with China. Uh, U.S. is 10% and China is 55%. Now this is I don't believe this hasn't fully taken effect. It still has a couple legal loopholes it has to go through, and then both Trump and president of China has to sign these for it to fully go through. But this is just shows a little bit of positivity for Trump. This is the market and everything has been volatile. Everything's kind of all over the place. So I guess this can add a little bit of stability to this. What's your thoughts on this, Ro?
So I knew in the beginning he had a plan when he was announcing these percentages. There was no plan. The plan was definitely not to keep those prices in place. It was to get the reaction that he's getting right now. And as I was reading this, you saying that China has to pay 55% in tariffs. I'm thinking somehow, some way, China as a country, they don't lose out because all they do is increase the prices because they're a major manufacturer
Exactly.
to the world. They're like the major hub for all types of goods, clothing, cookware, whatever. So it's that 55% really doesn't really, they're not missing a meal. And I'm
But
sure China's smart. They'll find a way to get it back some way.
well, I only say this because this has been a source of all the up and down swings that we're seeing in the market. So this is kind of a positive news here, I guess, to stabilize. I'm sure with the wars going on, this is going to get worse again, but this is something just to add a positive light on that. Now, I do agree with you. China's going to profit from this, but U.S. is also paying less than what they were paying before. I believe before it was 24% or something like that. I believe before this. I may be wrong on
Even
that.
so, that money is going to be pocketed by the businesses because they're not going to change their
Exactly.
prices.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's who
So
Trump is looking out for. He's looking out for the business owners. So it's a win-win for everybody except the consumer.
This was never going to be a win for the consumer. Either
No,
way,
never.
either way, yeah, either way. Now you that price increase is going to hit less in your mind, I guess.
Right.
Or,
When things go back to normal, there's we're gonna be happy, but not realizing that we're still getting bent over, so to say.
absolutely, absolutely. I think let's move on to another subject here. The No Kings protests. One recently happened this past week, which they've had here in Chicago. Now, the stuff we've seen in LA has been crazy though. The burning of the flag, the US flag, the spitting on it. I am in support of immigrants because I mean there are people here who work hard. They do jobs that other people that are citizens here would not want to do. They would not want to do. Whether it's small as cutting grass. There are some that ain't gonna get off their lazy ass and do it. So there are people that work here hard that are not criminals. Now I get it. There are some that are. They're violent offenders. Treated as such with that. But there are some that just want to work hard here, gain their citizenship, and they want to do it that way. I don't like and the media does play on this a little bit because they'll show the videos of kids being taken away out of the parent's arm, and they gotta watch their parent get dragged away, and it creates a whole sad scene. But I don't like that, just seeing that. But some of this is a positive and a negative, I'll say. Now, I do think Trump wants to act more like a dictator with this, but I like to see that people can come together for a cause respectfully. I don't think we've had the incidents that we've seen in LA, in Chicago. Show what protesting is all about. You stood for your cause. Nobody's getting burned down or hurt or anything like that. So it was great here to see that in Chicago. What's your thoughts, Roy?
Oh, get yourself a bottle of water, pull up a pillow. I got so much to say. First, I want to start off by saying, did you see the sheriff from Florida make his announcement in advance to the protesters in Florida? If you spit at me or you throw something at me, he basically said, I'm gonna dead you. I'm gonna unalive you. He said he said he's gonna make you cemetery dead.
Boy.
And you know what? And I don't think it's something they get off of, but law enforcement is human beings too. And you saw in LA, rocks was being thrown,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no telling what else was being thrown at them and what injuries was reported, by the law enforcement. So, and I'm all over the place with this.
Mm-hmm.
The No Kings, I guess that was in regards to him having his birthday celebration. And I say it's his birthday, but he tried to use the Army's 250th, birthday, but he tried to turn it into something about him. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad the turnout was the way it was. I mean, empty seats. It was just Dullsville.
Well
Um,
deserved.
yeah, well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he was trying to turn it into something about him. Now, on the subject of immigration, and I by no ways side with Trump, but at the end of the day, let's listen to these key words. He's going after illegal immigrants. That means if you came over here illegally, you snuck in, however, you stole a social security number, whatever, those are the people he's going after. And not to mention the ones that have violent pasts. Those are who he's trying to get rid of. He's not going to, a naturally born, individual. And I'm going to use the Hispanic race because that's where it seems to be aimed at right now. But after illegal immigrants. people with violent past, again, that came to the country illegally. How could you be against that? ICE is
Well,
just
man,
doing ICE's job. You know, how could you be against that?
well, I think it's the the mass rounding up of people. There are people being detained and they're not illegal immigrants. That
I
has
agree
happened.
with that.
There are
That's
people,
wrong. There
yeah,
was people deported that should not have been deported. I'm against
exactly.
that. But the whole target, it's was like I said, you're gonna break a few eggs along the way. You know, not everything's gonna be smooth, but the whole intent is to get those that are undocumented. And that phrase undocumented sounds so vile. But
Mhm.
basically, you're here illegally. You've probably stolen a social security, and I know for sure because I know this has happened to people. Undocumented individuals have stole American citizens' social security information to obtain false identifications, taking out loans in their name, and they're left here to suffer. So I'm all for it, but yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, they're using Gestapo tactics to do so. They're, and unfortunately, some people are getting caught up in the mix. But the whole object is to get those that don't belong here legally out with the opportunity to go home and apply for normal citizenship. Now, I'm sure everybody's going to get a sob story. Well, they left those countries to, find better, living conditions. You know, you have Venezuelans that go through Mexico to get to United States. How come they didn't stop in Mexico?
I think
And I'm not saying stay in Mexico, but if you're trying to get away from a bad situation in Venezuela and you make it to Mexico, bide your time, go through the proper procedures, make a life for yourself in Mexico in the meantime until your number's called up.
I would agree with you if there wasn't such a like there are people that have applied for citizenship that have worked here 10, 15 years and still don't have citizenship.
There's
That's a
also people that get temporary work, and there's another point I want to hit on. They Mexican citizens have temporary work visas when they come up seasonally to harvest farmlands. Now,
Mhm.
most of the lower class Hispanic community that's come here, and majority of them are illegal. They 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 make up the employment population for restaurants, cleaning staff at hotels, and farmers. Let's say like a Dole or somebody. Now imagine if and actually Trump is trying to he's backpedaling because it's all about big business. He's backpedaling on those industries. He's not going after those industries because of it's big business. You know, his rich buddies. They're like, man, but they work for cheap. You know, whatever. So just imagine Dole. They have pineapples. They got lettuce. They got all that stuff.
Mhm.
Imagine that. Imagine that being an American job by an American citizen, not happy with the pay. They would unionize, demand a pay increase, health benefits, whatever. And business got to keep moving, so they'll cave in. But guess what? That lettuce that you was buying for 79 cents is
That
damn near
ain't
$3 now.
exactly.
So he's
Exactly.
picking and choosing who and where he goes after. So the hotel industry, farming industry, he even said this, I'm going to back away from that because at the end of the day, big businesses suffer for that. But again, at the end
That
of the day, ICE is there to make sure that you're doing things that you've come here legally.
I think there's a cleaner way to go about it then. If your whole purpose is to get away or do it legally, take away the illegals, then you can go cleaner about it. There was an actor who played in Bad Boys 4, who did the little strug or whatever. That little viral actor. His visa was expired, and he was actually leaving in the process of leaving. They still detained him, still treating him like he was nothing, and he was leaving. He was in the process of leaving the country, and they allowed him to
You
leave.
know what? You know what? Right there, that sounds like. But I was about to clean my room. I was about to take out the garbage right now. You know, you can say that, but your eyes was glued to the TV. Was he really in the process, or that is that what he said? You know, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Oh yeah,
Well, that
I was getting ready to leave. Oh, I was getting ready to clean up. Oh, I was getting ready to do my homework. No, I wasn't. I
I,
was watching TV.
I would agree with you in that instance if they didn't detain him at the airport in the midst of him putting his ticket in and trying to leave. So,
So
I
so right
mean,
there, so right there is where I backpedal. I didn't know he was getting on the plane to leave.
yeah. See, that's what I mean. There's certain cases that don't require the amount of insensitive behavior, I'll say, and that's one of them. But they still treat it the same, like you're nothing, and I can do what I want, and that's where you lose the people that are that see the purpose of ICE. It's more of like it's inhumane, it's insensitive, it's treating people like garbage. That's the part that I was trying to get at.
So and it's funny, we find causes that we stand behind, but I'm really trying to understand in this specifically with LA, you know, throwing rocks at law enforcement, throwing rocks at their vehicles. I'm like, it's not like they're just grabbing random, well, they're going after people with intent. And again, there's a few that's probably getting dragged into that crowd that doesn't belong there. But how can you be in support of the violent, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying, how could you be in support? How could you be? And then there's one thing to protest if you feel because everybody has their right to do that. But how could you be in that crowd when they're throwing rocks? And I can imagine a whole lot more was being thrown.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of that.
I mean, the damage done. It's just, it's like it really doesn't drive home the point. And all ICE is doing is trying to get again. They're trying to go after those who are here illegally. And I'm not saying I'm going to go dress up in an ice costume for Halloween, and you know I'm not celebrating law enforcement in that manner. But we really got to look at it. Sometimes we get so caught up in I'm pro whatever he's against, and sometimes that could be the dumbest thing, especially honestly for black people. What are we doing there? Throwing if we are throwing rocks and whatever and being violent, disrespectful to law enforcement, what are we doing there?
Well,
I mean,
I would
where was our support when we needed it? And why are you out there when it's actually the Hispanic population that's, and I say this in a very actual way. There's no other way to say it. When it's the Hispanic community that's being targeted. What is the black folks doing out there? Leroy, stay your ass at home. It has nothing to do with you.
well, what's to stop them from saying we're next? If we're really gonna put it in that term. It could have something to do with us later down the line.
Well, you know what? It'd be some totally illegal shit because we're us Black Americans. We're American citizens. We're not illegals.
Mhm.
So unless you come up with something really corrupt, and what you're gonna say if you weren't born here, well then they're gonna get you because you technically you weren't born here. Only when it all comes down to it, if you weren't born here, you got to go. You got to just leave the Native Americans. So I don't see what they could legally come after African Americans for.
I don't know. I feel
I
like there's
mean,
a
we no,
possibility.
no, we say keep your eyes open because it could happen to us. I just don't see it. We're not we're not crossing the border illegally to get here. We're already here, and we're multiplying like roaches. So when you know, or rabbits. Let's say rabbits to the point where American citizen breeds another American citizen. Yeah. So at what point are we illegal? If they literally come after us for whatever reason, it's a truckload of bullshit because we're not doing nothing wrong. We're not doing nothing illegal. We're here legally. We have social security numbers.
Well, they say, and according to media, we're nothing but criminals. We kill each other. We talk about each other. We do everything purposely to each other.
Oh,
So,
so is that going to be your reasoning to get rid of us? That's
well,
bullshit. That's
we,
that's
we
that's in that big dumb trunk of bullshit.
I agree with you. It's BS
Mhm.
because none of it's true. But they say we're the vast majority of the police or the prison system, which is not true. Only 30%. But that's the thing they'll say. We do all the crime. We're the pushing. We're the motivating factor for it. So there is a way they could target us. I think that's a way they've been doing it for quite some time. We get painted with stigmas and
And
stereotypes.
I really don't want to go back and forth and you
Mm.
know like we had the thing with I forgot who that was a couple of weeks ago.
Angela
But
Reese.
whatever the whatever the deciding factors are, if they say that, that's still bullshit.
Mm.
Oh, we're gonna arrest you because study shows that's bullshit. There's nothing, there's nothing, there's nothing sensible, legal, common sense that they can go after the African American race for. It would be some pure bullshit. We're here legally, you know. No, we're not all angels, but we're not all devils neither. Uh, I, and I think that's with any race, you know, you're bad as a small population, but it sticks out because it's there and it's happening. But for the most part, we just go to work. We go to work. We go to school. We care for our families. You know, we're just living a life, living the American dream. There's no legal reason they can come after us. And I'll probably be the first one arrested when they do, because some bullshit that they come up with. But no, there's really there's really no legal boundaries they can come out again unless they make some bullshit up, and it would be bullshit because they're going after illegal those that have entered the country illegally.
I think we're gonna
Yeah.
move on to a lighter subject. Let's go to a lighter subject. Job Corps. They've closed 99 of their 121 facilities, citing low performance, only a graduation rate of 38.6% since 2019. Now they've operated at a $143 million deficit, which is expected to rise to $213 million deficit. Now they have until the end of June this month, and then all those facilities will be closed, 99 of them. Now, when I was a kid, this was like an avenue to avoid college fees and everything. You learn skills, you learn trades, electrician, plumber, whatever. You basically seek out a cook, chef, CDLs, that type of thing. This is what I was told as a kid. This is a great avenue to have that. Be a productive member of society. They provide the housing, get food, everything. This is great. Now, I do think now the numbers are projected to have it will have roughly 60,000 students who will basically go homeless, and basically their programs would be cut short. So I do think this could have hell of an impact on the workforce, labor force, homeless community. Kids out there not having an avenue to build up their skills. So I do think this is a negative hit. What's your thoughts?
You said they have a 30% success rate.
38% graduation rate,
Okay.
completion rate of the program.
Um, that's not a good number.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, it's not. And before I go any further, it's just like I'm saying to myself, you got to figure out a way to fix the problem.
Exactly.
And the problem is, I don't think it's the curriculum because they're offering you the skills, the opportunity. I think the problem is the students.
Or what do you do with the students? I mean, the resources, like I say, they was
I
operating at a
I
hundred and
I
forty-three
I
million dollar deficit.
I don't know. I mean, if you pour more money into it, that's not going to make them change.
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but
You got to be Roy. You got to be
but
Roy
I'm gonna
now.
say it. Everybody that I know. Well, I can't say that because I don't. Some people I don't know. The people that I know went to Job Corps are drug dealers now. And
Oh.
when I say Job Corps, I'm thinking back. Usually Job Corps is around 18. I'm
Mhm.
51 years old, so it was like the numbers speak for itself. I'm just going to be honest. If you get an opportunity like this to make something of yourself and basically it's free, where's the disconnect at?
I will say I
I
agree with you.
mean,
They do it.
these are people that have obviously no options. They didn't have the grade scores to go to college. Well, anybody can go to junior college. Like Chris Rock said, it's the club for the hood. It's a club. No, but no. Um, Junior college is an avenue, and if you show the
Yes.
aptitude, yeah, huh?
Yes, I agree with you on that. But
It's cheaper than a university,
mhm.
and I honestly am a big advocate for junior college because in college you have to take electives. You got to take
Yes.
English, math, whatever that stuff.
Mhm.
Take it in junior college where it's cheaper. Go to junior college for 2 years. And then when you finish junior college, you can go to a university, transfer them credits over, and a class a class focused on a career focused environment because you didn't get all the bullshit classes out the way for a whole lot cheaper. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big supporter of junior college. It's I don't see why people don't use that as a tool, but they didn't see junior college as an option. This was their only option. They didn't have the grades to go to be accepted into. a university, or unfortunately the money. This was their basically last option to increase their skill set.
I will agree with you that these are mostly troubled kids that have went to this job corps because school basically was an option. So students are initially the problem, but I think showing them a light or having the ability to show them a light where they can be productive outside of being drug dealers or gangsters or whatever have you. But I think this does take away from that because
Well, that's what the
what
Job
are
Corps was. It was an opportunity for them to see life outside of all the fast money, but
mhm.
they opted not to take it.
So my question after that then what about the students that are in the 60,000 that were looking forward to gaining this skill? Now you have to go the avenue up route of the junior college or the college where you will amass debt that's not debt that you can write off or debt or debt you can just get loan forgiveness for. You have to go that route now. So that's my thing with that. But
I don't
the
have a solution,
mm,
but I just say it's in jeopardy if it had been more productive,
mhm.
more a better success rate, it'd have been less likely they'd have been targeting to shut it down.
I agree with you there, fam. I
So
agree with you there.
I don't want to say they failed themselves, but Job Corps seems like a last line to make something out of yourself. So that other 62% that was really well, no, the 38% was the success rate.
Yeah,
There was that percentage that really, hey, this is my last chance to do something. I unfortunately feel bad for them, but the other 62% made it what it was.
I agree with you there, fam. Let's move on to a lighter
I
subject.
no, I just want to say I don't have nothing ill against it, but it's just like the opportunity was given and they mucked it up. Just like when you was a kid, I'm using a lot of kid references. You know, you get a chance to get out of trouble if you just tell the truth. Nine times out of 10, they already know the truth. They just want you to fess up. And you keep sticking with that lie. And then they get tired, like, look, little motherfucker, I know you did it because this, and that. I gave you a chance to open up and confess, and you didn't. So now this is the punishment you're gonna get. So unfortunately, I don't have a solution, but I just say they failed themselves.
I agree with you there. Now, this is numbers from Chicago. All the crimes that have happened in 2025 so far. Which, if you take 2025 to 2020 from 2024, there's been a decrease across the board in crime. Which is a great thing for Chicago. Now the numbers are small. I mean, you're literally talking about a couple, 10, maybe 100 difference between the numbers, but that's still great for here because you're usually around these times you're seeing high numbers in crime. I mean, if you go back as far as 2021, you see burglary, theft was definitely a increase. People stealing, assaults, all that stuff was going on. But it's definitely to see it's a downward trend right now. So that's great to see. I only brought this chart up just to shine positivity on Chicago. You know, the crimes are going down. So that's good to see, at least from last year. What's your thoughts, bro?
Y'all just want me to be the bad guy.
we gotta have you be Roy, man. We can't have you be nothing else, man. We gotta have you
I
be
think
Roy.
I think these numbers are exaggerated. They
Say what
they
you
have
mean with it.
they have the control to put these numbers out and say this is what it is.
Mhm.
It's just like they can I think there's been more murders.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I'm trying to remember where I saw this from, where how they would fudge the numbers. Basically, 2020, all those deaths from so the government was giving us hospital stipends for people that died from COVID.
Hmm.
But yet you had people, battling cancer and they finally kicked the bucket and they were right down the cause of death as COVID. No, it was cancer. So they fudge in the numbers to get well for the hospitals to get those stipends. I think these numbers are being, and I'm not saying all of them. I think felony theft has not declined like that. I think motor vehicle theft has not declined about that. I mean, just word of mouth. I listening to people. Oh, such and such got their car stolen. You know, yeah, they got stolen, but are those based on convictions or
That I don't know.
so? See, either you're going to count a motor vehicle theft or you're going to count it as motor vehicle theft unless you arrest somebody and charge them for it. You see what I'm saying? Not everybody, gets their car recovered. Or if they do get it recovered, it's just like, oh yeah, we found your shit, stripped down, but here it is. But it doesn't get counted as motor vehicle theft. So Brandon Johnson, not you. He's not in the best graces of Chicagoans right now. At the end of the day, he's just a politician doing politics shit. He I think these numbers are being exaggerated at some point, to some degree.
Well, I'm a little bit more optimistic, but I'm happy to see the trend. Hopefully, it's not fudge numbers here, but hopefully, it's going in a positive trend. Because especially murder, especially well, sexual assault is not really going down. But just I'm happy to see a trend of this stuff ending. The theft so much. I mean, if you look across the board there, the past 5 years, total sum there is crazy. So much theft, so much burglary. Like I'm shocked to see that the past 5 years. I don't pay attention to the news as much, but to see all of that going on, it's crazy. It shows people just like, oh, I'm just steal. I'm just take your car. I'm just you know rob your house. Felony theft, I believe, is with the amount. So people are stealing
Right.
vi- viable items out there. So that's definitely crazy to see. But I'm happy to see. Hopefully these numbers are real, and the trend is going there. That's how I'm gonna lead out. We're going to another subject. R. Kelly. Now the prison ministers his medicine, and they accidentally gave him an overdose of his medicine, where he was rushed to the hospital, had to be treated for this. Now, this is crazy. Now, for people who don't know, R. Kelly has recently cited that they're trying to kill him, basically. And this kind of supports that claim because after he was treated for this overdose, when he was able to move around, they immediately rushed him back to the prison. And it was literally like I believe, according to the report, it was literally like a day. He didn't have any chance to recover, to make sure he was good or anything like that. He was rushed right back to the hospital. I mean, back to the prison. So this is just crazy if and then he's in a solitary confinement because of his statue as a celebrity. So that's one thing there. But just to be treated that way, and then how do you accidentally overdose, give him a overdosage of his medicine? It's crazy. What's your thoughts, Roy?
Again, I'm not, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a character. I don't, you know, oh, I feel like Stephen A. Smith sometimes, and I think he's a character. But basically, I see bullshit. You
Okay.
know, how could you feel that you're being overdosed? You should know what medicine you take and how much you take daily. I bet you, I bet you for everybody that's on a medication right now, you probably can't even name some of the pills or some the little bottle right now. You can't even name it or the dosage. All you know is that you take one a day.
Exactly.
Um, he also said that he feels like there's a hit out on him to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
He's reaching right now. He's been begging Trump to pardon him. It's just like, and let me tell you why it's not going to happen. Well, I can tell you several reasons why it won't happen. Because R. Kelly doesn't do nothing at the end of the day for Trump, and it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't do nothing in his favor to pardon him. Because I think R. Kelly's been found guilty somewhere else, and it's not federal. I think it's a state crime. So he wouldn't be no different than Hoover at this point. Federal crime, okay, oh, it's gone. Oh, you still got the state time to do. And it's just like somebody. Let's say somebody's feeling gracious and they started handing out $20 bills on the corner. That was on Thursday. And then on Friday, you see that person, hey, I still heard you still got some 20s. You handing out 20s? Well, no, yeah, I got 20s, but I'm not handing out none today. And that's how I feel about the pardons, when Trump did those pardons. Oh, now, his camp is asking Trump for a pardon. He was like, you begging motherfuckers. If I wanted him out, guess what? He'd be pardoned. So you ask him something after already has been given out, you weren't even considered. So the fact that you asking, you'll probably never get it. But yeah, how, you should be aware of what you're taking on a daily. I mean, it doesn't, even if it's by injection, you should be able to see the bottle is being taken from, how much is being administered. They're just really reaching, and
I
everything's been quiet with him except for his tactics on how to get out. You did what you did, dude. Stay your rotten dick ass in jail.
Hey, I would agree with you, but I mean, if you've been getting administrated this medicine, right? You're not going to question the person who's been administrating the medicine. You're just going to be like, I'm going to sit there and take the medicine. You've been doing this since I've been here. Okay, whatever. You're not. I mean, I'm just speaking for me. I would be like, all right, whatever. He's giving me my medicine because he's not getting the medicine and taking it back to the cell. They're bringing it to him. So
Well, he has to
I'm
go
and that
see the nurse or whatever. He
yeah.
has to go to an infirmary to get his medicine. Yeah.
So I'm not. I would say that can't happen. Like there's got to be a mistake made there because they're not gonna trust you to reach in your pill bottle or needle. I'm not sure the medicine he was getting, but they're not gonna trust you to reach in the pill bottle. They're gonna hand you your pills, and and at that point you should feel it in your hand like, oh, this is too many. But if it's an injection or something like that, you're not going to question it. You're just going to be like, oh, okay, they're giving me my injection. So that can happen. In that instance, I kind of disagree with you there. But the other stuff, I do call, like you say, bullshit on that. Like the plot and all that stuff. Like why? Why would they do it? What benefit would they have by
And I'm
killing R.
sorry,
Kelly?
I need more information.
Mhm.
You know, when somebody says overdose, all automatically you think of like a cocaine overdose or methamphetamine overdose or whatever. Not every overdose is going to have fatal reactions.
Yeah,
So
according to this one, he felt dizzy. He was passing out, and then he basically passed out in his cell, and then he had to be rushed to the hospital after taking this medication, whether it was injection or pills. But there were multiple medications given to him, which is his medication. And before he felt dizzy and losing his vision and passed out. So there were multiple medications given to him. We just don't know what the medication was. That's being kept under wraps. So whether it's an injection or a pill, we don't know.
well, and here's the thing about it, and I know I can name one. So let's say if it's insulin.
Mhm.
If your blood sugar starts to normal out or maintain the normal, you know, blood sugar level, and you take your regular injection, guess what that's going to do? That's going to lower your blood sugar. From there, you get the dizzy spells, the sweats, or whatever, the blurred vision, or whatever. So again, I got to know what he overdosed on, because that
Yeah.
word overdose, people just think the worst when you hear overdose.
And I should mention the word overdose comes from his legal team.
Yeah, even
That
again,
come
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they're the same people. They're the advocates for trying to get him out. So
Mhm.
yeah, using that word overdose, it again with his blood sugar, if it was low and he takes an insulin shot and it drops low because that's what insulin shots supposed to do, you get low blood sugar. Yeah, you get dizzy and so on and so forth. I need to know what the medicine is. It just sounds like bullshit. And he's reaching and scratching. It's just
It's crazy.
like 2 weeks from now, I want to give him a call and say, "What's it going to be next time? What happens? What's now?" So he said that insects are crawling over him in his sleep.
But she's a celebrity. He's not used to the environment of what prison is. So I kind of understand he's a celebrity. So I get it. I get it with that.
He was a product of the South Side before he was a celebrity.
Yeah, but he's been living in celebrity lifestyle for longer than 10 years. So I kind of understand
I no,
that.
I just call BS. He's really reaching and scratching.
We'll
You
see
know
what
what?
comes of
All I can do is say this: R. Kelly had a chance to walk away from all of this when he got arrested down in Florida. And then he had that mug shot with half his head braided and other one had looking like the Predator with the camera, and it got thrown out. That should have been. It's like, ooh man, they almost got my ass. Let me straighten the fuck up. Haven't you ever, again, as little, haven't you ever done something and just knew you was gonna get in trouble, and by some miracle you got away with it? You're like, you know what? I ain't never doing that again. He had that opportunity. I don't have no sympathy for him. Hey, I just want y'all to know I still play his music. I can separate the man and music. But yeah, he's had opportunities to shake this, and he could be free right now, making Black Panties #3, you know, instead of being in jail, cleaning black drawers.
we can move on to another subject here. Talk about this man here as a former U.S. Army. Travis Decker, 32. One evening, he picked up his daughters on May 30th, and the very next day, their bodies were discovered at a campground in County's Rock Island campground. There were plastic bags over their head and they tied their wrists. Now, I don't know. There's not much details of this case of why he did this or what happened here, but this is a very sad story. There's a $20,000 reward, to lead to the capture of this man. It's a manhunt going on for him. So this stuff is just crazy, Kids didn't deserve that. I'm not sure. Maybe he had a issue with PTSD or something. I'm not sure. But this does seem premeditated. It's crazy. Crazy, sad story. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, until they find him and question him, I got scenarios going through my head, and again, this is all assumption. But what man would want to kill his daughters? Um, was he having issues with the mother? And he's like, if I can't have them, you can't have. Nobody can have them. What?
But we won't know all those details until this man is captured. So,
It's unfortunate,
mm,
very unfortunate. But to
yes,
take the lives of three innocent young girls, that's sad. But to me, I really got to know why. Was it like, and I've heard that, I've heard cases where one parent to try to get back at the other parent by doing something like this. Seen it in the news plenty of times. So it's unfortunate for them. I won't be surprised if when they find him, he's not alive.
I would
PTSD
agree.
or not, I think this is really gonna sink in what he did, and just sad.
Very sad story. And once again, there's a $20,000 reward for this man out here to get captured. So definitely help out with that. If you see him,
Now, what city is this?
this is uh Shelland County, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. So hope they can find this man. Definitely a sad story. Another sad story here. This is Vance Boltner. He basically impersonated a cop and went on a killing, well, what I would say is a killing spree, because he basically went former Speaker of the House and her husband, Melissa Hortman, and her husband, Mark. They were both shot in their home in Brooklyn Park, and they later both died at the hospital. Then from there, he went into Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, and shot at their residence. They both survived from multiple gunshot wounds. There was a 2-day manhunt for this man. And when they found him, he had a list of supposedly 200 more public officials. So this is obviously premeditated. This is a guy who was a crazy backstory to this guy. He was a manager at 7-Eleven. He had a doctorate in leadership. 57 years old from Green Island, Minnesota. And definitely crazy. Yeah, crazy. And this is a $50,000 reward was for his capture, which they did capture this man. He's facing 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, felony stalking leading to murder. Definitely crazy, crazy story. Yeah. What's your thoughts?
To be honest, I have no opinion on it. Yes, it's sad and unfortunate. Just another
Mhm.
sick fuck in the world, and I don't even want to give him time. I just I feel numb to it. I have no comment.
Yeah, another sad story. Another sad story. We're gonna move on to positive. A little bit of positivity. Yeah. Oh, that was my last story. Let me stop sharing. Uh, stop sharing here. I did have one more story, but I didn't have the picture for that. There's a lady, Sydney Sweetie. Hopefully, I'm saying her name correctly. She's an actress that was on Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not
Mm-hmm.
familiar with her that show, you should go look it up, check it out. But the reason I bring her up, she's selling soap that has her bath water infused with it. The thing that's crazy though is this soap is selling online. People are paying for this soap at around $1,500 just because it has her bath water in
Um, Not surprising. She's a very titillicious character,
it.
but
What was that
and
word again?
titillicious, chest heavy. Uh, we live in a world where this is in China. They have a vending machine for women's socks
Mhm.
and women's panties. So not surprised. There's a market out there. It's not going to be a next year. She won't be selling as much as she sold. This is going to be a passing thing. Yeah, you got a market, people will buy.
$1,500 for soap. I think that's a sad
Well,
word.
there's
That's
there's
a
there's,
sad
there's
world.
the guy that he's beaten off as he smells the soap, thinking that it's her. So yeah, it's I'm not surprised.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but when I read stories like this, I get a little bit embarrassed for men. Like I'm like, damn, like we're supposed to be prideful here. There's a there's a lady, and I won't mention her name, but she posted recently how she's just had messages and referrals and pictures, text exchange, and she's made $70 million off of these, and it's
Mm.
OnlyFans model. So it's like crazy. That's the world we live in. Like that's
Uh,
the world we live.
so speaking of social media, I'm sorry that you brought that up. I didn't mention it earlier. So you guys know that we are on Facebook at What the Fellas Think, and we are on Instagram, What the Fellas Think. I think I mentioned this before, but I have an OnlyFans page now, Chunky Lover 69.
Ladies, just so you know, that is his page alone. We are not on. We are not on.
No, it's
That is his page alone. That is his
just
page
just just
alone.
just just me, and I'll be uploading some new content tonight.
You got a dark cameraman somewhere in the house. You're throwing me off. You're throwing me off. But I think it's time we get into the gentleman's corner.
So yeah, here we go. Always trying to find good content from the style OG himself. So I came across this one, and here we go.
What's up, family? It's time to get into something every man needs to understand the difference between being kind and being nice. Because let's keep it real. Some guys think by being nice, they're doing the right thing. But in reality, they're only hurting themselves, their relationships, and their personal growth. That's why in today's video, we're going to break down why you should be kind instead of being nice and how it can level up every aspect of your life. Now, if you're new here, welcome, Jeff, your style OG. On this channel, we discuss various men's lifestyle topics such as style, grooming, and dating. If any or all those topics interest you, I invite you to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and join us. And to my returning friends like Jethro Jacinto, salute. To start off, we're going to talk about why being nice is a problem to begin with. And to do so, we need to understand what being nice really is. Society tells a lot of young men from an early age to be nice, agreeable, and avoid conflict at any cost. We're told to be accommodating, not rock the boat, and always to put others first. On the surface, this sounds like a good thing, right? Wrong. The problem with being nice is that it's often rooted in weakness, insecurity, and the fear of disappointing others. A lot of nice guys aren't being nice because they want to. They're doing it because they're afraid of rejection. They say yes when they really want to say no, and they tolerate a lot of disrespect. They avoid standing up for themselves, and the worst part, they think by being nice, they'll get loyalty and love. But that's not how the world works, my guy. Women don't respect nice guys, especially ones that are pushovers. And bosses don't promote employees who don't stand up for themselves and agree on everything. In life in general, does not reward men who are afraid to stand on their own 2 feet. So what's the alternative? Be kind. There's a whole lot of power in being kind. You see, being kind is a whole different ball game. Kindness isn't about trying to please everyone. It's not about being a doormat and avoiding conflict. Kindness is rooted in strength, confidence, and a genuine desire to help others without sacrificing yourself. A kind man is strong but compassionate. He stands for what is right, but he doesn't feel the need to prove himself. He's respectful, but he doesn't tolerate disrespect. He offers a helping hand, but only when it aligns with his values and his priorities. And a kind man does not let other people walk all over him. He sets boundaries and makes other people respect these boundaries. And a kind man doesn't agree just to avoid conflict. He speaks his mind with confidence, but with respect. A kind man is never afraid to be firm, but he isn't cruel and he's not reckless. You see the difference? Kindness comes from a place of strength. Niceness comes from a place of fear. Now let's talk about where this difference between being kind and being nice often manifests itself in interpersonal relationships. Let's keep it 100, fellas. The niceness problems and the difference between kindness and niceness often shows up when it comes to women and our relationships with them. A lot of guys think if they're super nice to a woman, always agreeable, always available, she will eventually see how great they are and reward them with love and loyalty. But in reality, that's not how attraction works. You see, a woman is never going to be turned on by a guy who's a pushover, who sets no boundaries. She's not going to respect a man who always agrees, never leads, and has no backbone. You see, being overly nice comes off as weak, needy, and even manipulative. Because deep down, people can see where you're being nice just to get something in return. But the kind man, that's a whole different story. He's strong and decisive, but he's also caring and thoughtful. He listens, but he also leads. He doesn't tolerate disrespect, but he's also gentle and patient. You see, nice guys seek approval. Kind guys command respect. And when it comes to your relationships with women, respect is the foundation of attraction. Now, not only will being kind instead of nice reflect in your relationships, you'll also see a difference in your career. The difference between being kind and nice definitely applies to your career and your life success. The nice guy in the workplace, he's the one that always says yes to every request, never asks for a raise, and avoids conflict at all costs. They think if they just keep their head down and don't make any waves, someone will notice and then reward them. But guess what? That's not how life works. The employee who's the pushover, never stands up for himself, is always nice and lets people take advantage of him, pile work on top of him, get overlooked for promotions, never get the opportunities that the strong, assertive guy gets. But the kind man, he's firm but fair. He sets boundaries even in the workplace. But he sets these boundaries without being rude. He commands respect without having to demand it. A kind man knows his worth. So when it's time to negotiate, stand up, or walk away, he does so with confidence. Being nice might make you likable, but being kind makes you respected. And in career, respect is what leads to opportunities, promotions, and success. Now we're going to talk about the most important part of being kind instead of being nice. It will contribute to your overall growth, your personal growth. That's because it definitely will help up your self-respect. You see, nice guys often struggle with self-respect because they put other people's needs in front of their own. They are so focused on being nice that they forget to ask themselves this important question: do I even like myself? But the kind man, he has a strong sense of self. He treats other people well, but he also treats himself well. He doesn't sacrifice his dignity to make other people comfortable. He doesn't seek external validation. He validates himself. And that's why kindness, true kindness, leads to confidence. When you start living for a sense of inner strength instead of external validation, that's when everything takes a turn. You walk different, you talk different, and you attract different people into your life. Not only will other people like you will like you. So now that hopefully you know the difference between being kind and being nice, let's see how you can shift from being nice to being kind. First, you need to start by setting boundaries. Don't feel the need to say yes to everything, especially things you want to say no to. If something disrespects your time, energy, or values, say no with confidence. You also want to make sure you speak in your mind. Nice guys avoid conflict. Kind guys speak their mind. Even if it means disagreeing, you have your own voice. Use it. The other thing you need to do, stop seeking approval. You don't need everybody to like you. You need everybody to respect you. And that starts by respecting yourself. Also, you need to make sure you're being helpful, not being a doormat. Don't let people take advantage of your kindness because, like the saying says, they will take it for weakness. You want to make sure you're leading with strength, not weakness. Being kind is not about being weak. Kindness is about being strong enough to care, but also standing firm in your own values. You also want to make sure you're making decisions with confidence. A kind man knows what he wants and he goes after it, and he doesn't seek permission. And the most important thing, take care of yourself. You can't pour into others if your cup is empty. So make sure you're prioritizing your own mental, physical, and emotional well-being. At the end of the day, fellas, being a kind man is one of the most powerful things you can be. But you have to understand, it comes from a place of strength, not weakness. Stop being nice just to please other people and start being kind in a way that commands respect. Women will respect you more, your career will improve, and your self-confidence will skyrocket. And most importantly, your self-respect will go through the roof. So remember, be kind, not nice. It will go a long way in you being the best man you can possibly be. Okay, so there you have it. Everything you need to know about why you should be kind instead of being nice and what the difference is. Now, do me a favor, let me know in the comment section if you've seen this manifested in your own life. And if you enjoyed this video and found it informative, I highly recommend you check out a recent video I did about 11 easy ways you can look more masculine. You can check it out right here.
There you go.
100% agree. I think, like you say, in any relationship, really, if respect is lost, that relationship ain't gonna last long at all. So I definitely agree with him on that. Another great gem from the man
Style
Style
OG.
OG. Yeah, another gem for that. I like that. I think we gonna go into our fun facts, and my fun facts for this evening all gear around men's mental health because it is men's mental health month. So definitely want to list a couple things here. Now, speak to all men. I think I know men like this because I am one myself. I don't talk much when I go through stuff. So, but men are 4 times more often than women in the U.S. to commit suicide. We're less likely to talk as well when it comes to that. For us, men, therapy for us is more of a workout, lifting weights, running, improves our mood more than talking, triggers the endorphins and testosterone balance, which are major health plays. We, as men, when we go through stuff, we can do a form of masking. We overwork, get quick to anger, and we're excessive gaming or drinking. It's a psychological armor that we do. For us, laughter is a big booster for us in mood as well. Comedy shows, telling jokes with friends, that type of thing. I already mentioned gaming can be a therapy for us as well. It's a better way for us to respond to trauma and issues going on and verbalizing our emotions through gaming. Therapy is for men is adventure therapy, boxing, hiking, survivor scenarios, car repair, no hobbies. So that's my fun facts for this. Man's mental health. Stick with that trend.
All righty. You got to excuse me. I'm having some type of technical difficulties with my camera, so I just
That's
shut it
all good.
off.
It's all good. I think we're gonna go into the record shop. You want me to go first, or you go first?
By all means, you go right ahead.
My song is one that it's kind of a staple in my play. Frank Ocean, "Swim Good." It's definitely a song that I love to play. It's definitely a song that I can always, like, if I'm in the gym. Like I say, I'm throughout this record shop, I'm a vibe person, and my music tells the world like what vibe I'm in. If I'm feeling frustrated or anything, you can definitely tell by what music I'm listening to. Because if I'm frustrated, I'm listening to DMX. If I'm in a mellow mood, I'm gonna listen to a song like this, Frank Ocean, "Swim Good." Uh, I really didn't have an album this week, but I'm definitely gonna go with Novocaine by Frank Ocean. That's definitely one that I can play straight through as well. So I'm a vibe person, and that album just fits me, and then all the songs fit my certain vibe. So definitely check that out, Frank Ocean, Novocaine,
Okay.
and Swim Good.
So my album pick is, and I guess this is kind of cheating, but it's the best of Sade.
Okay.
Basically, it's just a compilation of her best songs.
Mm.
Smooth, soulful voice. And if you see her now, and this is just, it's ironic that I mentioned her because I saw a picture last week of her at 23 and recently of her at 66. And she is not missing a beat. She's still fine. So the standout songs, like in one of the conversations I've had with people, I'm like, what's your favorite Sade song? And people say, Smooth Operator or whatever. My personal favorite is Your Love Is King. To
I
me,
might have to check that out.
to me that's the jam that sticks out. Soulful. I can put it on repeat sometimes and hear it 3 times over and still be good with it. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. A lot of my influences come, and not in this case, but it comes from rap. Whereas I will read the credits and find out where they sampled songs from, and then I would go listen to that artist, and to play it safe, I would just buy the best of, as opposed to an individual album. So I got a lot of best of CDs in my collection,
Oh, you still
and
have
this
CDs?
yes, I gotta have a hard copy.
Dang.
Yes.
Oh, I'm everything digital, fella. Everything digital.
If I can't touch it, I don't trust it. I mean, the cloud, like, oh, you can store it on the cloud. No, I got a flash drive, or whatever, external hard drive. Because if I don't have control of the cloud, and it decides to go down, I'm SOL with what I entrusted them to hold on to me. So yeah, I'm a hard copy guy.
You over there spitting bars. If I can't touch it, I ain't trusting it. You over there spitting bars. But and staple of our show, we end our show with the affirmations. You you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Yeah, mine is pretty much simple.
Okay, I'll start with
Being no, so I'm just
oh,
going as real simple.
oh,
Being lazy is so disrespectful to people that believe in you. I don't even have to break it down for you. It's all in the words. Being lazy is disrespectful to people that believe in you.
I like it, fella. My affirmations tie once again around, like I say, it's Men's Mental Health Month or Men's Mental Health Awareness. So I'm gonna tie it to men. Being a man is about manhood, and it's called I Am. That's my affirmation there. I am hard to kill. I am easy to love. I am kind with words. I am generous with my time. I am always ready to strike. I am controlled with my temper. I am open to growth. I am willing to heal. I am protective of my reputation. I am respectful of all. I am ready with a plan. I am appreciative of my masculinity, as it is a gift from God. That's my affirmation.
All righty.
Another.
Just, throwing some positive vibes out to the
Yeah.
people, to the hundreds of Facebook followers and YouTube listeners and what's that? Instagram, the Instagram, our Instagram followers too. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to create a meme where I'm just doing this episode.
Mhm.
It's wrong, I think. I don't know. Is that right? That's right. Maybe that's right. So, maybe this. Maybe. No, no, no. Okay, well, it's something like that.
So
So
literally right now, like I said, I'm having difficulties. My screen has been frozen of you since I stopped sharing the Style OG. So I can't see a thing. I can't see
oh,
a thing. I tried
oh.
refreshing and everything. Only thing I didn't do is leave and come back. I figure you can still hear me. I'm gonna still go at it.
Can you see my screen now?
I can see you, but it's frozen.
Oh, that's crazy. All right. Well, well, I'm definitely throwing up the 5 and the 2 for episode 52. Definitely want to say to our audience, like, comment, and subscribe. We definitely had another crazy episode where we had some juicy topics, some juicy current events that definitely sparked some discussions, and definitely had some amazing affirmations, to spread positivity that we like to end our show with all every week. So definitely like, comment, subscribe, and definitely hope you guys enjoy. We love to hear from you. So, like I say, like, comment, and subscribe.